You know that thing where you're watching a movie and you start getting misty-eyed? And then a little salt water just leaks out over a story you know is fake. Here's the part we don't really stop to think about. You might be the only animal on the whole planet that does this. Dogs don't cry at sad things, lions don't. As far as we can tell, it's just us. So why? Why are we the only animal on Earth that cries? Now, before trying to answer that question, let's establish something. Not all crying is the same. Right now, there's a thin layer of tears sitting on your eyes, just keeping them from drying out. That's maintenance. It's always there. Cut an onion and you make a different kind. Your eyes flushing out something that's bothering them. Also normal. Pretty much every animal with eyes does some version of those two. But there's a third kind. The kind that shows up when you're sad, or when you're happy, or when you see a beautiful sunset. Emotional tears. Those are the strange ones, because as far as we can tell, no other animal cries them. Now, you've probably heard stories of dogs or elephants crying, but researchers have actually looked at it. One survey went around asking veterinarians and zookeepers, people who spend their entire lives around animals, whether they'd ever seen one cry from feelings. Nobody had a single clear case. There is also this genuinely lovely study where dogs' eyes get a little wetter when their owner comes home. It's real and it's adorable, but here's the thing. The tears don't actually fall. The dog gets a bit misty, it doesn't weep. So for now, the full, overflowing, running down your face kind of crying really does look like a human specialty. And as I've mentioned earlier, we cry at all kinds of emotions. We cry at weddings, at reunions, when someone finally gets the thing they've worked their whole life for. People cry when they're overwhelmed with joy, which, if you stop and think about it, it's really strange. You don't sweat because you're happy. You don't get a runny nose because something beautiful happened. But your eyes overflow either way. So whatever crying is, it isn't simply, I'm sad. It's tied to something bigger. Moments that matter, moments that are almost too much to hold. So what is it for? The most common answer you'll hear is that crying gets it out of your system. That the tears are flushing out stress, carrying the bad chemicals away. Like you're detoxing through your eyes. It's a really satisfying idea. It's also never actually been shown to be true. A scientist named William Frey suggested it back in the 80s. That your tear glands work a little like kidneys, washing stress chemicals out of you. People loved it. It spread everywhere. But when researchers went looking for the actual evidence, it wasn't there. Nobody has ever demonstrated that crying meaningfully cleans anything out of your body. Yes, your stress hormone does drop after a good cry, but it drops just as much in baby monkeys who get upset and then settle down. And monkeys don't shed emotional tears. They just calm down, which tells you the drop is coming from calming down, not from tears washing anything away. So whatever's making you feel a bit better afterward, it was never the crying flushing out your stress. But that doesn't make sense, does it? We all know that a good cry makes you feel better. You let it out, the weight lifts, right? Except when researchers actually measure people's mood right after they cry, say after a sad film, they usually feel worse, not better, worse. The relief just isn't there yet. In fact, when researchers had people keep a diary of every single time they cried, only about a third of those cries actually left them feeling better afterward. So a good cry isn't some reliable little reset button. If it shows up at all, that better feeling tends to come much later, like an hour and a half later, and mostly when somebody comforted them. And that's the most interesting part. The lift doesn't really come from the crying, it comes from being comforted while you cry, which is a huge clue in trying to answer why only humans cry. Because if the good part isn't really happening inside you, if it's happening between you and someone else, then maybe crying was never about you at all. Maybe it's a message. Tears aren't a release valve, they're a signal. And the signal is aimed at the people around you, and that means happy tears now make sense. Because think about what weddings and reunions and goodbyes all have in common. People, each other, the moments when we need other humans the most. Maybe that's the thread. Tears show up right when the bonds between us are pulled the tightest, good or bad. And once you look at them that way, emotional tears are kind of brilliant. First, you can't fake them. Think about it. You can fake a smile easily. You can force a laugh, but real tears are much harder to fake in the moment. Real tears show up on their own. The same way you can't make yourself blush or give yourself goosebumps or widen your own pupils on command. And that is exactly what makes them believable. A signal you can't fake is a signal people can trust. Second, and this is the truly brilliant part, tears literally blur your vision. For a moment, you can't see clearly, which means you can't really fight and you can't really run. And some researchers think that's part of the point. Streaming eyes are a way of saying, I'm not a threat, I'm not going to hurt you. It's a white flag, made of salt water. And third, tears pull other people towards you. There's a big study, more than 7,000 people across 41 different countries. And when they saw a face with tears on it, they were far more likely to want to help. Not because the crying person looked weak, because they looked like they genuinely needed someone, and something in us answers that. Now, to be fair, that's people saying they'd want to help. In a study, looking at photos. It's not quite the same as proving we actually rush in and help more in real life. But the pull is real, and it's strong, and it shows up almost everywhere researchers look for it. So where does a signal like this even come from? The best guess takes us all the way back to the start of your life. When you were a newborn, you cried, loudly. But for the first few weeks, you cried without tears. The tears came a little later, and a newborn crying is basically an alarm. It's a tiny human who can't talk, can't move, can't survive for 5 minutes on its own, sending out the one signal it has. Come here, something's wrong, I need you. The idea is that tears got added on top of that. A visual flag a parent could catch from across the room. And then, over a very long time, that flag grew up along with us. The grown-up version still does the same job. It just got quieter and more complicated. And honestly, that flips the whole thing around, because we treat crying like a weakness, something to apologize for. Sorry, I don't even know why I'm crying. But look at what it actually is. It's the one signal your body makes that you genuinely cannot fake. It lowers your own guard. It literally blinds you for a second, just to tell the people near you that you're hurting, and that you're not a threat. And it reaches into other humans and makes them want to come closer. That's not weakness. That's the most social thing your body knows how to do. It's you, refusing to suffer in silence. So go back to that moment at the movie, the fake story. Your eyes stinging over people who don't even exist. It feels a little silly maybe, like a glitch, an overreaction to nothing. But it isn't a glitch. It's one of the oldest parts of you doing its job. Pattern matching that fake story onto something real, and reaching for connection the only way it knows how. Somewhere far back, the ancestors who could send that signal, honestly, in a way nobody could fake, were the ones who got comforted, who got helped, who weren't left alone in the dark. And you come from them. So the next time something moves you and your eyes start to go, you don't have to fight it. You don't have to explain it. It just means some ancient, wordless part of you is doing the bravest thing a person can do, reaching for someone else.